it's really what's being made that will keep our youth engaged, that will keep them excited about the future, to know that we're not just making another widget, that we're making something that's never existed before, and we're building it anew in this country for this century.
Welcome to Stories from the NNI. This series features voices from the U.S. National Nanotechnology Initiative. I'm Lisa Friedersdorf, Director of the National Nanotechnology Coordination Office. I had the opportunity to speak with Dr. Baratunde Cola during the 2017 Tech Connect conference. Dr. Cola is currently on leave from the Georgia Institute of Technology, where he is an associate professor in mechanical engineering and material science, to concentrate on his company, Carbice. Thank you for joining us today, and could you tell us a little bit about your company?
It's my pleasure to be here. I'm the founder and CEO, and so Carbice is a leading provider of advanced heat dissipation materials for packaging electronic devices. A lot of people are familiar with electronics. They use their cell phone, they use their laptop. People are increasingly familiar with the idea that these things are getting hot, and that's a big problem that reduces reliability and jeopardizes safety. So Carbice is positioned to solve that problem. And we are a company that's a spin out from the Georgia Institute of Technology. We're located in Midtown Atlanta, and we're bringing the game-changing carbon nanotube technology to market.
So why did you decide to pursue this technology?
Heat dissipation is not a sexy topic. And it's not anything that anybody wakes up in the morning when they're young and says, I want to deal with heat dissipation. So the way I got into this was accidental. I was an undergrad at Vanderbilt, and my second research experience, my junior year, was doing some modeling of nano diamond for thermal to electricity direct energy conversion. And I thought this idea was fantastic. And I learned in that process that more than 60% of the energy that we produce is wasted as heat. So I said, this heat must be a big problem. And a mentor introduced me to the carbon nanotube. And they told me, here's a magical material that 8 times more conductive than copper, both electrically, thermally, stronger than steel, all these magical things people said about it. So I was convinced. I drank the Kool-Aid. And so I decided I would get a PhD in that subject to become the world's expert in my mind, so that I could go out with confidence to address this problem.
What do you see as your greatest challenge that's facing you and your company?
We're fortunate at Carbice because I've been a professor at Georgia Tech for 8 years and got to incubate this technology in one of the world's leading research institutions. And because of that, we have a lot of access to customers, and we have a lot of credibility around our technology. It's been vetted and peer reviewed. Now that I've taken leave from that position to be in Carbice full time, it's really a matter of growing a business. And my hat that I wear, because I have a CTO that focuses still on technology, but I focus on the business and what that really means in terms of a customer may like our technology and maybe 10 times better when they do their prototyping. But for them, it's a highly risky proposition to adopt a technology from a small company. And then everybody kind of puts a risk premium on the word nanotechnology because they don't know what it means. So you have to de-risk that. And so I spend a lot of time de-risking the business. And so my greatest challenge is really that.
What do you look for in future employees?
The number one thing I look for is passion. I want people that, they don't have to be passionate about nanotechnology, but people that are passionate about life, about something, that they've demonstrated that passion in some way. Then I get to the technical and business stuff next. And from that standpoint, we do need students that have a competency in materials and tools that are related to what we do. Students need those hands-on skills. They need that type of knowledge base. But we also need students to actually understand what the business ecosystem looks like. Students that understand that when you come and join a small and growing nanotechnology company, it's not like joining an app company. It's not Facebook. Right? It's going to take some time to build it out. And while the ramp initially may be linear and long, when you hit your sweet spot, it will be exponential by many-fold versus what other businesses would be. And so we need people to be sober about that. So I look for passion and sobriety.
Where do you see your company in 5 years?
That's a great question. That's the hardest one for me to answer. I've learned to develop a split personality now that I'm CEO of this company. From on one side, the technology is the best ever. It's going to be save the world tomorrow. But then I've learned from the investment side that people will hold me accountable to those expectations if I set them there. I don't know where we're going to be in 5 years, but what I know is that over the next year, we'll be adopted and deployed in a big application. And I know once that happens, for us, it's cookie making, right? We have the recipe, we know how to do it, and it's just repeat. And we can scale that business. And because of that, I think we'll be a tremendously successful company. And I tell people that here's my metric. In 2018, for the first time in human history, we will ship over 1 trillion semiconductor units globally. And my expectation is that at some point, whether 5, 15, or 20 years, that a Carbice product will be on every single one of them.
How have you interacted with the National Nanotechnology Initiative?
So Lisa, I actually was funded in my very first year of graduate school by the National Nanotechnology Initiative. So I'm like a poster child to a degree. It was through a NASA center, and that dangling that carrot in front of me is why I chose Purdue University and didn't apply to any of the grad schools. We need to do things like that because most kids who are 17 to 21 don't think about nanotechnology as something that they can do or that's important, but that interaction told me early on that it was. And so since then, I've been very dedicated to that cause, and I was actually the first vice president of the Student Nanotechnology Council at Purdue, and my job in that role was to give tours of the Burke Nanotechnology Center and to help interface with NanoHub, all these resources that NNI has put out there. And then since being a faculty member at Georgia Tech, it's been absolutely vital to my company, a company that requires capital equipment to grow, to have access to capital equipment through a user center for both faculty and industry at Georgia Tech. And the Marcus Nanotechnology Center has been the place where we have grown our business. Carbice Corporation would not exist without that investment from the taxpayer and the citizens. And I think that I think now actually is the time for us to double down on that.
What do you see as the role for nanotechnology and the Nano Initiative in future manufacturing in the United States?
Lisa, I love this question because I think it's absolutely central to the future of manufacturing. To get Americans excited about something, that we like to do new things. We like to do exciting things. And to me, there's nothing more exciting than nanotechnology and advanced materials. When I step in front of a group of middle school students, 400 or 500 of them, to high school students in a classroom, they're fascinated. They may not know what nanotechnology is, but they're fascinated about it. And so I think that a key to bringing manufacturing back is that we're already doing today, and we will continue to automate and bring robots into manufacturing, but it's really what's being made that will keep our youth engaged, that will keep them excited about the future, to know that we're not just making another widget, that we're making something that's never existed before, and we're building it anew in this country for this century. And I really feel like that's why I'm extremely passionate about not just building Carbice as a business, but building it in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States of America, and really making manufacturing great again.
Well, thank you very much for being with us today. We really enjoyed having a conversation with you. I think it was extremely insightful, and we really appreciate your thoughts and time.
Well, thank you, Lisa. It was my pleasure, and hope to do it again sometime soon.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Stories from the NNI. If you would like to learn more about nanotechnology, please visit www.nano.gov and check back here for more stories.